that we'll use everywhere else in the building apply to our parapet inspections. This parapet is taller than most people are in height. This is a 10-foot parapet, but we're still looking for plumb, level, square, and straight. So we'll follow our parapet inspection down. We're going to concentrate right here, but we'll repeat this around the entire perimeter of this building, and we'll begin with the coping or cap flashing that's on the top of the concrete parapet wall. And we'll make sure that's well sealed. We'll make sure that's free of rust, and we'll look for any signs of moisture. Signs of moisture could be streaking. Signs of moisture could be efflorescence. Signs of moisture could be rust. And then that travels down through our concrete to the top of this Z flashing. The Z flashing is taking the moisture as it cascades down the parapet wall and puts it over the top of this skirting. We obviously do have some material damage to the skirting, either denting. Some of this could be from the window washing rigs or other items that could be impacting on this. We've also got some peeling paint. And then we come down and we'll have a little piece of base flashing. So if the Z flashing kicked the water over the front, any water that gets behind sluices over, comes down the parapet. And then we actually have a termination bar down here. And that termination bar is where our root material rolls up. And this allows us the opportunity to mount that piece of EPDM to the building and not have any water go over the top of the roof and into the roof material itself. So looking at the parapet in a total assembly is really important. Once again, coping and cap flashing comes down the wall to the Z flashing, kicks the water over, tops the surface. Any water comes out the bottom, goes down to the termination bar. Beyond that, we can look at some of the other systems that are on the parapet itself. That key view of the parapet that included plumb, level, and square and straight is looking down that wall from both a macro and micro approach, macro being far and micro being close. When I look down this wall, I can see this beautiful straight wall. It's not serpentine, it's not coming in or going out, and it's actually plumb straight up and down. And then when I look across, and it's best to look at it from a macro view, I can actually see the top of that parapet as it cascades through the horizon as being perfectly level. If we had issues in this building, that's going to be the first spot that's going to show us. And by looking at those elements, we're actually creating that complete story that could carry over to so many other elements of your inspection, including the structure. Not part of what we're discussing right now, but it does have great kinship to knowing that that plumb, level, square, and straight does exist. In the rest of the parapet wall, beyond the skirting and all the flashing elements, there is some electrical components to the parapet wall that should be identifiable. First, we have this receptacle that's right here. When I open this up, this is a 240 volt receptacle. If you can see that we're right on the edge of the wall, this is running the electrical components for the window washing gear. And that's the 240 volt that's there. To the next of it, I have another receptacle, which is a normal 120 volt receptacle. And I would test it with my normal receptacle testing tool. But what's missing on this that we should identify, because we are on the outside, whether this is a weather protected or not is absolutely true, but it does not appear to be GFCI protected. Now within GFCI protection, it's important that we are to test it with a receptacle testing device. However, we do have to reset any tested receptacle that we do trip. Not having this as a visible tripping GFCI receptacle means I don't know where it would trip if I tested it. So taking a photo of this and documenting on my inspection report that the GFCI protection is not readily accessible will help you clearly define that scope for your client so that I am not testing the GFCI, only noting what I see here on my inspection report.